Hi, I'm so happy to be with you on Lovin Sheila, the podcast today. I was eager to get here. Had so much to talk about because I had some fresh revelations this week, and I want to talk to you about anger. And in the process of ending relationships, you're going to find yourself. There's going to be some type of precipice. There's going to be something that triggers moving out of this current situation. And oftentimes we don't deal with our primary emotions. And primary emotions are it's about seven of them. And one is anger, anticipation, joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, and disgust. Those are some primary emotions. And over my Love and Sheila journey that I've been sharing with you, I've dealt with uh, obviously I've had some primary emotions, but I found that it's easier to deal with secondary emotions. And those, I guess, because it takes a minute to get to our primary emotions to really get to the heart of the matter, was something I've been talking about, for the last year. Secondary emotions are like guilt, shame, pride, empathy, jealousy, envy, embarrassment. I spent some time talking to you about shame not long ago. I've dealt with tremendous amounts of guilt, just for not being able to make different things the way I wanted it to be, something I do. And I think we deal with that because it's easier to hold ourselves accountable and deal with ourselves and, what we could have done. And I feel shame. I feel guilty. I feel this, or whatever the case may be. It's easy to deal with that. So that's where I focus my time, and I did a lot, and being, well, dealing with those secondary emotions. um, I think getting to the primary allows me to be more vulnerable, more transparent. Out of respect for my marriage and the dissolving of my marriage, I was only able to be so transparent. I felt like, leaving out the names and places and whatnot, just trying to share, but not disrespect anything or whatever. Just respect, because there's a lot of things I could have said, I think, a lot of things I didn't say. And that was my story, but I just said, oh, we'll leave that out because I don't want to name names and whatnot. And I know my girlfriend, she told me that's your secret sauce, that you're nice, you don't get even, you don't get revenge, you don't stay angry, you don't stay mad, you don't act on your anger, and you kind of move forward and don't ever lose that. She tells me don't ever lose that. When I get upset, and I've been to her, she's like, that's your secret sauce, don't lose it. And so over the years, I didn't focus, and over this last year, I didn't focus on my anger. I let it pass, and I felt these other things, these other secondary emotions, you know. And there's a difference between being upset with someone also and enforcing your boundaries, or having boundaries, and denying access to you. A lot of times people think you must be angry, you're bitter, you're upset, or whatever, because they can't communicate. No, you've abused your ability. You took your ability to communicate with me for granted. You took your privilege for granted. And so now, I'm in control, and I'm going to handle this the way I see fit. And because, as I was told, this is a gift, this is a gift that keeps giving, there's always new nuances, new elements, new revelations, that come about from time to time. And so this week, I was introduced to something that this type of betrayal, I never really felt before, or didn't, I wasn't sensitive to. I was looking at life through rose-colored glasses, and I gave benefits in different areas. But now, for some reason, people want to come out and they want to talk to me, and they want to say, "Oh yeah, this was going on. This so and so told me this, and so and so told me this," and I'm like, "Why tell me now? I'm healing. I'm healed. I'm in a new place completely. Must you take me back there to think about it, to ponder, to wonder when that happened, or whatever the case may be?" So um, that's another thing. And so that takes me to the point where I am definitely enforcing my boundaries, and revisiting that. And there's some conversations that I'm available for, and there's some conversations that I'm not available for. And so that's part two of this, I guess. But again, because I'm evolving, I'm doing a lot of self-reflecting, and I know what works for me and what doesn't. And the good thing about, well, the thing I learned about healing, it's not linear. It doesn't happen like you want it to, like I'm sad today, I'm angry tomorrow, I'm, brokenhearted this day. No, it comes in different angles, and you might have to revisit some things. So it's not linear. It's not like this. It's not like you're gonna keep getting better. You're gonna have good days, and then you're gonna have bad days, and then you're gonna get good, and then you may stay steady for a while, and then you drop again. But it's okay. That's just how healing works. We have to understand that. Um, so, what I'm taking away from the new revelations I've received about previous relationships is not to project it to my new relationship. Immediately I'm thinking, oh, don't trust a soul, don't trust anyone. What happens when you trust someone? You get bamboozled, hoodwinked, all that stuff. But because I'm evolving, I understand you can't make another man pay for another man's mistakes, and so that's not an option. I learned in my evolution what I didn't do before is to hold people accountable. So if you broke my heart, or if you cheated on me, or if you were, I don't know, whatever you were, um, you have to live with that. You have to live with that. You made your bed and now you lie in it, because I'm moving forward. And so I realized that I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to take the baggage that I have from previous relationships and then, move it all in and set it up and decorate in my new place. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to learn what I need to learn and go forward, and be a better woman and not a bitter woman. So I've evolved. I'm going to allow myself to love and trust and be loved, and be affectionate, and not be tired and weary. Sometimes being in a strange relationship is the most exhausting and tiring thing you can do. And so I'm not trying to be weary. I'm not trying to be tired. I want to be free, uplifted, energized. You know what I'm saying? I think relationships should energize you. They should make you happy. They should give some pep to your step. Um, so consider that. So I'm repurposing my anger. Instead of dwelling in it, I'm repurposing this anger that I recognize was there when I got this new news. And what I'm taking away is that I've learned I have greater self awareness. I know me now. I know how I am. I know how I get down. I know what's acceptable to me, what's not acceptable. Um, the things that I do, they're choices, and I'm choosing me, number one, and I have boundaries. And I recognize that I'm angry, and I can say it, or I was angry, but it doesn't define me. It's not who I am, it's just an emotion that I have experienced. And the Bible says, be angry and sin not. So I can be angry and not sin. I don't have to act out in a bad way. Just accept it. I'm accepting my anger. I'm accepting the experience. I'm accepting the negativity. And I'm going to put it behind me. I'm going to move on. I'm embracing the future. Um, embrace the future. Embrace everything it has to hold. Not get too far in front of myself and not be anxious about it. And appreciate the love that is in my life. Appreciate it. And be grateful for what I've learned. And like a bishop said once in the message, it came to make you better and not bitter. So the entire experience is not to make me hate men or hate relationships, hate marriage, or any of that stuff. It's designed to help me recognize what healthy is and what healthy looks like. And I'm getting there. And just the other day, I was talking to my therapist, and I was sharing with her something I didn't particularly like, but I said, but I think this is healthy. I don't like it because it doesn't feed what I want all the time, but I think it's healthy. And so I read it to her and I shared it with her. She's like, yes, it is healthy. And I recognize that. So I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm changing. I'm dealing with my anger and other primary emotions. I'm not sweeping it under the rug. It's there, it's present. I know it. And I'm going to move forward. in victory. And that's what I hope we all can do. And that's why I share this with you. Don't despise your anger. It happens. It's an emotion. It's a primary emotion. Feel it, get through it, and get to the next level. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next Lovin Sheila podcast.